This is a brief overview that shows how to make an oral history project. What is oral history, you might ask? Well, it is a collection of living people's testimony about their own experiences.
And this website is tellingstories.org, and this was put on and presented by the Urban School of San Francisco. And for this project, if you go to the About link up top, it will give you all the information about the project. And we wanted to model our project after this particular website because it was set up very nicely. This tells about the project. This was done by high school students. They put this together, filmed, and did the interviews of various people from, if you look, they had stories of civil rights, Holocaust, liberators, Japanese Americans, but we will focus ours on Nebraska librarians, and we will show you some from the Holocaust on here. But back to the About link, we hope to have a site telling, a link telling about the project, and then if you notice there's a project overview that tells all about the project, the goal and the purpose, and then it goes through the phases that they went through to set up the entire project, and we would like to have that on ours as well. There's photos and credits of the participants and the interviewers. Another link that we would like to have is community support, and this shows all of the organizations and individuals that possibly gave money or donated time or support to this project. It talks about accolades, contacts, samples, and an overview presentation. So if you go back to the main page, we wanted to show you some information on the Holocaust survivors and refugees page. If you click on Max Garcia, we liked especially how these interviews were set up on here. It gives biographical information at the top, and then all of the interview is typed out below, but it also has a drop-down box here where you can see the different chapters in each story. So if you didn't want to read the whole thing, you could just click on one. So if you go to the beginning, it takes you to that, and then you can click
My name is Leah,
on the
and
text,
we are conducting an interview with Max R. Garcia.
and it will tell
And the
you,
date is May
you can
9th,
follow along with the
2000,
text, and you can also listen
and the
to
location
the
is San
audio.
Francisco, California. And the
So,
interviewer says the
if we
oral
click down
history
here,
class. The teacher is
Okay, I arrived in Westerbork, as I've explained to you, and the day came when we were loaded on the cattle, or that's not a cattle car, it's basically a closed freight wagon with a sliding door on either side on the long side of the car. We were loaded in there. Inside we found some straw on the floor, and in the middle there was a drum about that much in diameter. That was your toilet. That's where you did all your action. I think we had been given.
okay, so as you can notice, some of the topics are very sensitive, and it is a good way to document information in personal history.
And ours is not going to be about the Holocaust, as we said, but it will be set up similar to this, since we will be interviewing various librarians around Nebraska, and we will be asking them questions about their cultural diversity, what made them become librarians, how their culture affected their lives and what they're doing with them today. And we also have to be really careful when we ask the questions. We have to ask questions that will elicit really paragraph type responses instead of simple yes or no's. And we also want to make sure we don't ask questions that are offensive to them, or we ask offensive questions in ways that don't offend. And then we also will need to get release forms so that we don't have any misunderstandings about what we're going to be using this information for. And then eventually we would put this together and make an archive copy and probably give out some copies to other people. So that is how we would do our oral history project.